हमला हुआ है अजय भाई। आई थिंक 10 ओवर मार्क पे भी, पावर प्ले भी अगर आप देखें तो आप बोले चलिए पावर प्ले भी इतना बुरा नहीं था, ठीक ठाक था, पर कहाँ पे आपको लगता है जो इनकी गाड़ी पटरी से उतरी, मेन कौन सा स्पेल था?
आई थिंक मेन सबसे उतरी जो है वो बाबर की, क्योंकि हम पहले भी बात कर रहे थे कि वो शुरुआत ही नहीं, हम उससे आगे ही नहीं जा पा रहे थे। तो पहला वो था और उसकी वजह से शायद जो फिर रिजवान ने जो अप्रोच ली, क्योंकि जैसे बाबर खेलते हैं, रिजवान खेलते हैं, आउट हो तो कोई भी हो सकता है, लेकिन उसका आउट होने का इतना बड़ा इम्पैक्ट हुआ कि जो रिजवान को आपने देखा जिस तरह से खेलते हुए, कि 42 गेंदों में अगर वो 43 ही रन बनाए, वो इफेक्ट एक्चुअली वो बाबर है। और फिर जब वो आउट हुए वहां से, तो फिर वो पीरियड तो रियली ऐसा है कि जब आप गाड़ी उल्टी चलती है तो फिर जैसे चलती है वही
कंडीशंस में आपने क्या देखा वीरू कुछ, क्योंकि जो इनके सलामी बल्लेबाजी और पावर प्ले का जो खेल है पाकिस्तान का, हमेशा इनकी ये निंदा होती है कि जब आप फर्स्ट जब बैटिंग करते हो तो पावर प्ले में ज्यादा एक्सेलरेट नहीं कर पाते। आज भी मतलब पावर प्ले उनका ठीक ठाक ही रहा, पर ये जो आप सलामी बल्लेबाज देखिए अपना बॉल पे जा रहे हैं, क्या कंडीशंस ऐसी थी, क्या बॉलिंग ऐसी थी, या खुद भी स्लो रहे?
कंडीशन बैटिंग के लिए ऐसा नहीं था कि कंडीशंस बॉलर को फेवर करे, कोई ज्यादा स्विंग सीन देखने को मिला नहीं। आई थिंक तारीफ करने वाली इंडियन गेंदबाज उनकी, जो पिछला मैच पाकिस्तान से आ रहे थे उसमें एक आधी बाउंसर मारी, लेकिन आज जब आए हैं तो अग्रेसिव हर ओवर में एक बाउंसर मारा है दोनों बैट्समैन रिजवान और बाबर के ऊपर। तो आई थिंक बाबर भी जब आउट हुआ शॉर्ट पिच गेंद पर ही आउट हुआ, तो हार्दिक पांड्या ने भी शॉर्ट पिच गेंदों पे आउट किया। आई थिंक वो विकेट जो घास दिख रही है उसका फायदा उठाया है कि जो शॉर्ट पिच बॉल है वो ज्यादा तेज आई है, जो बैट्समैन उम्मीद करता है कि भाई ये नॉर्मल 130-35 पे आएगी, बट जब घास होती है तो वो 130-35 जल्दी आती है, तो वो शायद एक अलग चीज देखने को मिली आज के मैच में। अदरवाइज तो विकेट बल्लेबाजी के लिए अनुकूल था, ऐसा कुछ था नहीं। बट ये है कि अगर बाबर अगर रुकते हैं तो वो एक उनकी इर्द गिर्द पाकिस्तान की टीम बल्लेबाजी करती है, क्योंकि फिर वो बाकी और बल्लेबाज खुल के बल्लेबाजी करते हैं, तो आज शायद वो उनके जल्दी आउट होने से वो ऐसा हो नहीं पाया। रिजवान ने भी जो बल्लेबाजी की है वो अगर 42 गेंदों पे 43 की जगह 42 गेंदों में 63 बनाते तो ये एक अच्छा टोटल होता आज, अगर और 20 रन इसमें ऐड कर लेते तो। मेरे ख्याल से कहीं ना कहीं चूक हुई है पाकिस्तानी बल्लेबाजों से, वो ये हुई है कि वो जो बीच के ओवर हो ना वो क्या खेले, वो रन बॉल खेले या मार के खेले विकेट बचाए, वहाँ वो नजर नहीं आया। 10 ओवर तक तो बिल्कुल ठीक चल रहे थे, 74-75 रन पर 2 ही आउट थे, लेकिन उसके बाद 12वें-13वें ओवर में जब हार्दिक पांड्या वापस आए उन्होंने आउट किया रिजवान को, करा के एक और बल्लेबाज को, तो उसके बाद से नहीं यार डूब गई।
बिल्कुल जैसे आप कह रहे हैं बाबर जो है उनके तंबू के बम्बू है,
बिल्कुल तंबू के बम्बू, बाकी सब उनके इर्द गिर्द खेलते, देखिए अगर वो खड़े रहते हैं तो रिजवान भी इतना स्लो नहीं खेलते जितना आज खेले, तो शायद मे भी उनको लगा कि भाई जो बाबर वो लगा करते वो मैं कर लूँ और बाकी मेरे इर्द गिर्द खेले, पर वैसा हुआ नहीं।
But you've got to give credit to Rohit Sharma, the captain here as well. I mean, of course, he's talked a lot about role clarity. He's been very verbal about saying that I want role clarity, and of course, in the batting that's evident, in the bowling that's evident as well. We saw today Avesh Khan was picked ahead of Ravichandran Ashwin, and you said this, PVP, you said that he's being picked, and I think it's because of the conditions, and he was bang on with that.
He was, and that's what you do. I mean, you pick a bowler on a T20 game. Or Rohit Sharma's strength as a captain is taking a decision on his feet right there, right now, according to the situation. And you have Avesh Khan, your number one out-and-out bowler, but he bowled only 2 overs. Yeah. But those were effective. He got a wicket. He's done his job. He brought in Hardik Pandya at the difficult time on the 3rd over. He took a couple of wickets. There was no need for bowling Avesh Khan. Otherwise, as a captain, sometimes when you know that I've played a particular player for only one skill and I'm not giving him 4 overs. So I think that's something which speaks a lot about how Rohit Sharma takes his decision on feet.
Also, what's happened is now he's been released.
Yeah.
So as a captain, you have cards on the table, and how one of the reasons why Dhoni's been so successful as a captain is he's always gone with 6-7 bowlers. In a traditional CSK team or the India teams that he ran. what's happening here is Hardik is not your designated sixth bowler anymore.
Yeah.
He's bowling sometimes like your second bowler, your third bowler, your first bowler, So what happens then is the captain he does not need to say ki, I have to take this fifth over, these two will share the last 4 overs.
Yeah.
Any two can share the last 4 overs depending on the match situation. So that is a huge relief. There was a time when in the India team, these two people will bowl the last 4 overs, or if this guy gets out, only this guy will bowl only 2 overs if somebody gets hit. That thing has now changed, and the more cards you give a captain like Rohit, who's, as he said, a very good tactical captain, on the field captain, the more cards you're giving him, the better he can play, the better he can manage his resources. And Hardik's bowling is allowing him to do that.
आप सोच रहे होंगे कि इतने समय बात हो रही थी, और जब बात हो रही थी कि हार्दिक पांड्या गेंदबाजी कब करेंगे, कब पूरी आईपीएल में चर्चा होती रहती थी, मुंबई की टीम बताती नहीं थी कि करेंगे नहीं करेंगे, हमेशा छुपा सा रहता था। और आई थिंक कभी कभी लोग ये भी कहते थे कि अरे यार इतनी क्या बातें हो रही हैं यार, उसकी गेंदबाजी की ऐसे की जैसे इंडिया की क्रिकेट ही रुक गई हो। अरे रुकता कुछ नहीं है, और ये जब चलता है तो क्या चलता है।
इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर है ना।
बताइए, उसको थोड़ा बताइए कि ये जो इंडिया पाकिस्तान का मैच होता है, इसका माहौल क्या माहौल होता है इसका?
मतलब मुझे तो पहले मैच में पता चल गया था कि इंडिया पाकिस्तान का क्या माहौल होता है। माहौल इन द सेंस कि जब मैं बैटिंग करने जा रहा था तो मतलब पाकिस्तान यूसुफ योहाना, शाहिद अफरीदी, शोएब अख्तर जो मिल रहा है वो गालियाँ ही दे रहा था उस टाइम पे, और ऐसी गालियाँ जो मैंने भी नहीं सुनी होंगी, मतलब ठेठ पंजाबी में। तो आधी तो समझ में नहीं आई, और जो समझ में आई तो गुस्सा इतना है कि क्या कर सकते हैं। मतलब मैं तो छोटा बच्चा ही था एकदम 19-20 साल का। तो वो इंडिया पाकिस्तान का माहौल पहले मैच में पता चला कि यार अब अगर पाकिस्तान से खेलना है तो मतलब आपको अपने स्किल्स की तैयारी तो करनी ही करनी है, प्लस साथ में ना अपने गालियों को भी पिटारा लेके चलना है ताकि आप उन्हें सूद समेत वापस दे सको। बिल्कुल उन्हें बात से तो तब एक वो माहौल देखा था मैंने 99 में। उसके बाद हम लोग दूसरा मैच खेले थे 2003 वर्ल्ड कप में, तो माहौल दोनों सेम थे 2003 वर्ल्ड कप में भी, क्योंकि वो टीम लगभग सेम ही थी 1999 वाली और 2003 में, क्योंकि वसीम अकरम वकार ने तब शायद वो आखिरी मैच था, तो सेम टीम थी, तो माहौल सेम था। गालियां हमें खूब पड़ रही थी, हम भी गालियां खूब दे रहे थे, खासकर शोएब अख्तर को जब सचिन तेंदुलकर ने मार रहे थे नॉन स्ट्राइक एंड से, मैं चिल्लाया जा रहा था मारो इन्हें और मारो। क्योंकि उन्होंने एक ऐसी स्टेटमेंट दी थी 2003 वर्ल्ड कप के मैच से पहले कि मैं डिस्ट्रॉय कर दूंगा इंडियन टॉप ऑर्डर। तो जब हमने वो पढ़ी, हमने डरे भी, क्योंकि डिस्ट्रॉय
Pakistan went from challengers to contenders during the last World Cup. They earned the favourites tag after defeating India and New Zealand and staying undefeated during the Super 12s as well. But they suffered their first loss of the tournament in the semi-final against Australia, who went on to win the title. Since then, they've played 3 T20I series and have won 2 and lost the one-off match versus Australia. Now, considering that they've not played too many T20Is, Pakistan will look at this Asia Cup as a dress rehearsal for the T20 World Cup later this year. As Babar Azam and co gear up for the Asia Cup, here's your quick guide to the side who's looking to do a three-peat at the tournament. Pakistan has picked a strong 15-member squad. Shahid Afridi has been ruled out of Asia Cup 2022 owing to a knee injury, and Naseem Shah joins the squad. The squad also hosts of some very good all-rounders and some very handy part-timers as well. Now, Pakistan's strength has always been an enviable pace attack, and this time around, it's the same story as well. Their attack already boasts of players like Harish Rauf, Mohammad Wasim and Shahnawaz Dahani. But Naseem Shah, who is yet to make his T20I debut, makes the Pakistani pace attack even more potent. The leader of this attack, Shahid Afridi, is a crucial call, not only just for the damage that he does with the new ball, but also in terms of his experience. While Shahid Afridi's absence is a major blow, one can still expect this Pakistan attack to push opponents on the back foot. An area of concern for Pakistan could be their is yet to live up to his potential and contribute with a match-winning knock, whereas Iftikhar Ahmed has been dependable but been in and out of the side. Fakhar Zaman's inconsistency, despite the experience, also adds to their middle order woes. A lot, though, will rely. The key to Pakistan's success, even during the previous T20 World Cup, were Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan. The openers, with Mohammad Rizwan's 1,326 runs last year, are the most runs scored in T20Is in a calendar year. And his opening partner, Babar Azam, sits on the second spot in that record list with 939 runs. Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan have stitched together plenty of record-breaking stands, and if Pakistan has to win the Asia Cup crown, these two will be crucial again. Pakistan play arch rivals India in their opening encounter on the 28th of August. If you look at the squad, they have the pace, they have the all-round prowess, and they have some of the best cricketers going around the world. But can they win their third Asia Cup title? Only time will tell. Defending champions India are gearing up for the Asia Cup in the UAE. There's some new names, some comebacks, some omissions due to injuries, which is why it is very important that you keep your eyes out on key players. My name is Turnip, and I'm here to help you with the top 5 Indian. The stage is set and the spotlight is firmly on. Used to the spotlight, Virat Kohli, but this time around, in recent times, the spotlight hasn't always been in the most positive of frames. Yes, Virat Kohli hasn't played a lot of cricket post that T20 World Cup 2021, and his form has dwindled and how. Something that has been a cause of concern for Team India and all surrounding for a very long time. Also because there are contentions on that spot already in the likes of Deepak Hooda, Suryakumar Yadav, which means Virat Kohli will be at the center of attention come this Asia Cup. Will he up his strike rate? Will he adapt to India's new approach? How will he adapt to the new changing dynamics around him in Team India? Virat Kohli will have all the eyes on him. And knowing the champion that Virat Kohli is, you might just see him roaring back in this Asia Cup. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, India's most experienced pacer in this Asia Cup attack, India's most experienced pacer in the past few months in white ball cricket, and he's been India's comeback man. Coming back from injuries, a slew of injuries, and then to come out and play like that, bowl in all areas, bowl with such consistency, Bhuvneshwar Kumar has come out to be a bank for Captain Rohit Sharma. In the Asia Cup, in the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, in the absence of Harshad Patel, Bhuvneshwar Kumar will be a key go-to man, not only at the top of the innings, but also in the death overs. It helps that he's coming into the Asia Cup with a lot of form. India's joint highest wicket taker post that T20 World Cup in 2021, alongside Harshad Patel, of course, who is not available, which means there is added responsibility on Bhuvneshwar Kumar's shoulders. But the one thing that all of us know that Bhuvi does is every time there's added responsibility, he comes out and flourishes. Indian fans will hope that he does that this time around in Asia Cup. For the longest time, Ravindra
पाकिस्तान की अगर बल्लेबाजी देखें, आपको स्कोर कार्ड भी दिखाएंगे। हेलो एंड वेलकम। अजय जडेजा, भारत ने टॉस जीता और पाकिस्तान को पहले बल्लेबाजी करने के लिए भेजा और मामला जो है शुरुआती एंड 40
this chase, and I was going to ask that question to you, but that wasn't to be. How did you assess his innings?
I mean, I was one of those as well, and I thought he'd almost settled down.
Yeah.
He'd settled down. The total was looking. I mean, there's a style in which Virat Kohli always has chased these total down. So I was, not at all worried. But when I saw Ravindra walk in, I think that's where it all, there must have been some change in that mindset. And since now we're talking about the mind, he's, been talking about what's happened to him, it was natural. But he almost seemed like he'd settled down. There was a little calmness in that whole inning that was coming through. But as soon as Ravindra came in, I think you go into this double thought, because you change the plan, you sent in a man at the other end, so now your role has been redefined. And I think caught in two minds at that stage. You got to say, it's not something that you see with Virat Kohli. He never throws it away. But today was was a different story.
It was. Now, Ravindra Jadeja and Suryakumar Yadav are batting in the middle. What does Ravindra Jadeja's role from here become? Does he bat till the end, anchor and let others at the other end, for instance Suryakumar Yadav, play their game? Or, like we saw right before we came on the combox, he hit Nawaz for a 6. Does he go the aggressive route?
I think when he's walked in, I mean, it's a surprise for me. There's no doubt. But what he's shown in the 5 balls that he's played, and especially against Nawaz, I think it'd probably be a scheme or a thought that Nawaz is something that you will attack, and except for that, you just carry on. And I think Ravindra is an experienced player. He's been around for long enough, and he'll understand that game against Pakistan, if you're going well, you shouldn't leave it for anybody. I know there are finishers in this team, but you should not leave it for them. That's what he should be trying to do. But the risk is that how does he approach Nawaz? So when he walked in, there were only 2 down, you were thinking differently. If there's a wicket that falls on the opposite side, then it's a tricky situation again. But I think we should be okay. Surya is another calming factor. We should be home. I mean,
okay, all right. That'll calm all the Indian fans out there, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I thought I was worried that you got some news.
I was about to tell you.
I feel, see, if the wicket, with pressure situation, what happens, the game slows down if the wicket doesn't allow the ball to go to all parts of the ground. What we've seen all through the days, it's never going to be a dull period. And you're not too far from that chase. The 2 guys who are sitting in the hut are not worried about run rates. They both are capable of doing that. So it's about just staying on, and if you stay on for a little while, it'll only get easier. And once the seamers come back on, and if you're still only 3 down, then the runs will flow. It's just that when you have wickets which are slower and balls are not coming on, that's when the singles don't come. In this wicket, I don't think there should be a problem.
Alright then, Indian fans, that should calm your nerves. There shouldn't be a problem for Team India. Of course, that's all that we have for you on this installment of Cricket Boss Combox. Thank you, Ajay, for joining us. Thank you to all of you as well. We'll of course see you at the end of the game with Cricket Boss Live. Thank you.
Defending champions India are all set for this year's Asia Cup, which is going to be a T20 competition, much like the 2016 edition. After a not-so-great campaign in the last T20 World Cup, India would definitely want to perform to their potential in this multi-nation tournament. Now, in the previous edition of the T20 World Cup, India were beaten by arch rivals Pakistan in their opening encounter, and then by the Kiwis in the group stage. Going into the World Cup as favourites, India did not even manage to qualify for the semi-finals. However, India performed exceedingly well after that debacle. They've remained unbeaten in all the bilateral T20I series that they've played so far after that T20 World Cup. Now, after trying and testing out players and captains in various bilateral series, India would want to put up a strong show in the Asia Cup with the eyes on T20 World Cup in Australia later this year. Now, India have picked a full-strength squad with all the available first-choice players for this Asia Cup. Virat Kohli and KL Rahul have made a comeback, while Jasprit Bumrah has been ruled out with an injury. India's strength has always been their batting lineup, and this time around, it's no different. Skipper Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul will lead the charge for the men in blue. While in the middle order, India will have Suryakumar Yadav's attacking skills and players like Hardik Pandya lower down the order, completing India's batting. And in the absence of a prime bowler like Jasprit Bumrah, India's pace attack looks a bit inexperienced and weak. Bhuvneshwar Kumar will have to shoulder the responsibility with young pacers like Arshdeep Singh and Avesh Khan in this multi-nation tournament. However, all-rounders Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin are all expected to provide the much-needed balance to the team, and their experience will help India's bowling as well. The key to India's success will be skipper Rohit Sharma and Suryakumar Yadav's batting. Rohit Sharma's new approach to batting at the top of the order and Sky's ability to take on any bowling attack will be crucial for India whenever they're batting first or they're chasing a big target. Rohit leading from the front will be the best thing for India in this competition, and the fans would hope for some terrific batting displays from the hitman. On the other hand, Suryakumar Yadav is undoubtedly one of the best T20 batters in recent times. The team management and fans alike will bank on his heroics to give the much-needed boost to India's run rate in those middle overs. India start their Asia Cup campaign against neighbouring Pakistan on the 28th of August, which promises to be a Super Sunday clash. And despite the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, India look like a very balanced outfit on paper. But can they become the champions of Asia this time as well? Can they defend their title? Time will tell.
Let's talk about actually the batting, Joy. There's a reasonable amount of experience. Obviously, they haven't covered themselves with glory even playing. There's not too much that they've done. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, if you look at it, I mean, for example, Najibullah Zadran, for me, is a class player.
Yeah.
And I actually looked it up. And he's not, look, the one thing that you have to realize with this Afghanistan team is they played a lot of T20 international cricket. Look at those stats. Okay, in 2022, I mean, an average of 155, 43.56. Why is it that you think you haven't played them? Because they don't play the top countries.
Yeah.
The record for the highest number of consecutive T20 internationals won is held by Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They won 15. So they used to be the king of the minnows, and now they've been promoted. Okay, so now they're suddenly sitting in a different category, which is why you're looking at them very differently.
Yeah.
But if you look at Najibullah Zadran, he's played 73 T20 international matches. That's a hell of a lot of. But of those, you'll see about 60 of them are played against the smaller countries.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. A lot of experience, but perhaps not that much experience against big teams.
Yeah, not the top flight experience.
Not the top flight experience. Right? That's the thing which is a little bit of an Achilles heel with them. See, they have players like Rashid and Nabi, Zazai also now, who played the leagues around the world. Zadran has played in the leagues around the world. He played in Canada as well. So they have played. It's not that they haven't played, but definitely that is where the experience is.
It's when the graduation has happened to the next league, right? Like, for example, I genuinely got a double promotion from prep to 1. I was ruling the roost in prep, so suddenly when I came to class 1, I was like, there's some big boys here, huh? I'm the youngest here. And that's what stretches you, and that's what happens with Afghanistan, right? I mean, you're bossing the minnows, right? You're bossing the kids in the class, so to speak, who are also coming up, and then suddenly you're up amongst with the big boys, and we're like, okay, man, this ain't that easy then.
Yeah, and there you are. Numbers. No, absolutely. That tells it all. Yeah. 17, almost 79%. If you're against others, against Super 12, you're 5-5, and I think that's also quite good because if you look at say Bangladesh,
All their wins, I just want to add, all those wins are against Bangladesh.
yeah. So
All those wins, yeah. Those 5 wins in the Super 12 are all against Bangladesh. So the only top flight team they've actually beaten is Bangladesh. They were hoping that today they'd be playing Bangladesh.
No, and even in the top flight teams at the moment around the world, if you look, I mean, there's 2 segments there as well. I mean, if you look at India's numbers, it looks, great and numbers have changed. But in the last 15 games, if you look, there's only 3 matches you played South Africa, which was also not on the top team. West Indies, Sri Lanka, these days is not in real those top teams there. Yeah. So that makes a big difference.
He has said in an interview, I haven't touched a bat in 30 days for the first time in my life. I realized I was trying to fake my intensity, convincing myself to keep going while my body and mind were asking me to take a break and step back. I think we've had long chats about Virat Kohli, the intensity, the fire, intensity with which that fire burns, and how you don't want that to turn into an inferno that burns the person out himself. I think we discussed this on Quick Buzz Live during the IPL as well. I think Michael Wong said it, you said it. We all spoke about how it's okay, he's human, needs a break as much as he feels superhuman. Human needs a break. No surprise here in this revelation then.
No surprise, but I think a refreshing amount of candidness,
Yeah.
For him to be able to say that and to say that, I think to say that he hasn't touched a bat in 30 days is not difficult. But to say that I was over pushing myself over and pretending that I really liked it at a point when I've stopped liking it for a while and I needed to go away from the game to realize that, I think that is important. And I think this is in many ways his open moment. Like, Andre Agassi really started talking about the game of how much he hated the game at one point in time, only when he was outside it and had that perspective. I mean, Virat has this rare situation where he's actually spent a month away from the game, probably gained a bit of perspective. As he said, he's not had this break like this in 10 years.
Yeah.
For 10 years, he's not had a break where he's not held the bat from his hand for a month. So I think and I think he needed to say this.
Yeah.
Somehow I felt that he wanted to get it out of his system and put it out there. And I think also what he's saying is that, I am at the stage that I can say something like that.
Yeah.
A slightly more junior player, if he said that, would say that he hasn't played for a month, and how's he going to play for India now?
True.
So, lots of questions from there.
I think that's what happens when you're one of the greatest of all time, is that there is enough empirical data and evidence to tell you that he has done enough for the country in all formats. So therefore, he has earned the right to actually speak like that. And I think Indian cricket runs out, the world cricket probably runs out of Virat's bat unless they play against him. Everybody wants to see him. We saw that in a video with China a few yesterday as well. That's what happens with sport, right? It breaks through barriers. But this mental barrier that we're talking about, you could tell, because Virat doesn't lack ability. I mean, anybody who questions Virat's ability has been living under a rock for the last 20 years. So it's obviously, it had to be just mental.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, we've talked here, and I think anybody who's talked cricket has always talked about it. It is a physical sport. We just talked about Rana Tunga as well. It's not. It is a mental sport, especially this game of cricket, because it's not just your mind. You're playing in a team. There's a certain role that you're playing, which affects the other person who's on the other side of you. So it is a mental sport. There's no doubt. But it's not 10 years. It's 20 years, because 10 years of international. I doubt that he would have not held the bat for 10 years in the first 10 years before he got to India. So it's the first time that he's experienced this. And people look at life differently. I mean, when you're 18 and 20, and when you get to 30 or when you get to 40, you look at the same scenario differently. This is the same man who, when his father passed away, he went to the cricket ground that day. He didn't go to the cremation, he went to the cricket ground, finished his innings. At that age, he thought that was what is to be done. And now, he probably thinks differently. That's what he's come out and said. And, why Virat Kohli is loved is because of what he does, things that no one else has done or no one else has shown. And I think the energy that he's shown in the last 10, 12 years in the international cricket ever since he's come, I doubt that there's any other human being who's shown that kind of energy on the ground day in and day out. Even if he says he faked it in the last, or he had to push himself, I would not use the word faked it, because maybe I doubt that he would have made it. Sometimes you give an interview and it's edited. It's on the face. Basically what it is he had to kind of put it on. Yeah, so which is something that I would think about, because that man has not, for a man to think that I didn't want to go to a ground tells you what state of mind he must have been in, and why and what and all has a lot to do with it. But I'm glad that he's in that position that he can say that I haven't touched the bat and I can still go out and play for India. I'm so happy about it, because everybody who says when India or any team or any player is seen outside at night or not practicing for 5 days, say, he's not interested. Now at least with Virat Kohli, nobody will ever say that. So, and I'm hoping, like the whole country is and the whole world, like you said, that he will score runs, because he's bound to score runs whether he's practiced or not practiced. If not today, tomorrow. Not just saying there have been people who've been away for a while. So this will also break another myth. So I'm just glad for that.
Such a
and great players have to not only pave the way for themselves, they have to pave the way for the ordinary people also who are coming behind them.
Exactly.
And it shows, like you said a little earlier, that this is the strongest mind and the greatest player of all time, or at least at the moment, can go through this. So imagine a young boy or somebody who's played 10 games, 20 games, he can also go through this, but it is just not accepted. When those guys go through this and can't score runs or can't play, Karun Nair comes to my mind first thing, and people who just left him out and forgot about him, a man who scored 300 in a test match cricket, is nowhere around the Indian cricket scene, tells you what? That you only accept people who are successful when they're down and out. You leave them out there and say he's got a weak mind. Here's the greatest player in the world, player of India, saying that this can happen to me. So I just hope that the cricketing system and people around this game look at people who are weaker and also help them out.
let's show you the points table. Just to quickly tell you again, there are two groups in the Asia Cup. There is Group A, which has India, Pakistan and Hong Kong. And then there is Group B that has Sri Lanka, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. So Afghanistan, of course, off to a flying start today. And here's, I mean, they've got the 2 points, but just have a look at the net run rate. I mean, if all teams, here's my point.
How does Sri Lanka recover from here?
You can't.
Is there a possibility, even if Bangladesh scores 130 or 120, what would they need to erase that minus point?
They need to score in 2 overs.
So I see, my thing is, it's a very simple thing. The logic that they're going to have is
Bangladesh will lose both.
Bangladesh has to lose both, you know. They have to, that's the only thing they can count on.
So you think somebody can beat Sri Lanka's worst performance today? Twice?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that...
I mean, Bangladesh...
No, so the thing is...
Sri Lanka has to be
correct. So what happens is Sri Lanka has to be... So Sri Lanka can only do what's in their hands, which is they have to beat Bangladesh, and then hope and pray, and beat the big. And then hope and pray that Afghanistan actually just beat them. And yeah, Afghanistan also beats Bangladesh, which means that Sri Lanka just goes.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. But if all 3 end up with 1 win each, then you know that they're not going through. Like Afghanistan has to do nothing now. They don't even need to show up to the next game, and they've qualified. Right? Because no matter which way you slice or splice it, they're through.
Say Sri Lanka beats Bangladesh.
Yes.
Right? Because that's the only game left.
True.
So if they beat them by 30 runs,
Yeah.
will that erase that?
No, not at all. It'll probably bring it up to like
So Bangladesh in the last game won't have to chase 50% of the runs almost, because when you look at that. So whatever the margin minus this.
Asian powerhouses assembled come the Asia Cup 2022, which means a lot of those power players from within these teams will be in action. My name is Turnip, and today we are having a look at the top 5 players you must watch out for in this Asia Cup. Hassan is back as Bangladesh's skipper, and he's got a big job on his hands. Bangladesh haven't been in the best of forms. They just lost a T20I series against Zimbabwe in Zimbabwe. On his own personal form front, Hassan hasn't really played a lot of T20I cricket this year. His last T20I was against the West Indies in July, where Mahmudullah was leading Bangladesh. This time around in the Asia Cup, Shakib will lead Bangladesh. His all-round abilities are known to the world. What he can do as an all-rounder is not a surprise to anyone, but he has to lead Bangladesh out of the ditch of form that they've been in recent times and come back and pack a punch at the Asia Cup. Something that will be a big challenge, and Shakib Hassan will be up for it. Rashid Khan, a name where reputation precedes performances. Even before he's bowled a single ball, faced a single ball, Rashid Khan, the name really scares oppositions. He's gone everywhere in the world, played every league and performed everywhere. Not only with the ball, but also with the bat. Heading into this Asia Cup, in that T20I series against Ireland, in the 4th game, he scored 31 not out of just 10 balls. Couple that up with his beautiful bowling, and he's a complete package. Afghanistan need that complete package. They've also sorted out other pieces in the puzzle in their playing 11, but Rashid Khan happens to be the most important piece. And come this Asia Cup, if Afghanistan have to go the distance, Rashid Khan has to stand up and perform yet again. Just 4 T20Is this year for India. An IPL where he averaged 23, his strike rate was 116. These numbers just don't go well with Virat Kohli. There is pressure mounting on the star batter heading into this Asia Cup. He's not had a lot of games. There are knocks on that door. There are contentions for his place in that. But the one thing that we know about Virat Kohli is that when the stage is big, the spotlight is bright, Virat Kohli shines. Indian fans and fans of cricket would hope that this is the stage where Virat Kohli shines, where Virat Kohli comes into his own and makes a statement heading into that T20 World Cup 2022, which means he is one of the key players to watch out for come this Asia Cup. Now, Pakistan's fans will have their eyes glued on skipper Babar Azam, #1 limited overs batter in the world. Power was the top run getter in the last T20 World Cup. He has carried his good form in 2022 as well. And in the only T20I that he played earlier in April this year, he scored 66 versus the Aussies in Lahore. Babar Azam is a very essential cog in that Pakistan batting lineup and definitely is one of the key players to watch out for. There's a name that's going around world cricket and creating waves everywhere he goes. The name is Wanindu Hasaranga. With the ball, he is at the top of his game. 26 wickets from 16 games in the IPL for the RCB. The second highest wicket taker in IPL 2022. Add to that his ability to get you some very handy runs towards the end of an innings in that lower order. Wanindu Hasaranga is a complete T20 package. Now Sri Lankan cricket is in a resurgence mode and Wanindu Hasaranga is right at the forefront of it. This time around in the Asia Cup, Sri Lanka would like to leave a mark and Wanindu Hasaranga can be that one player who can help them do that. It can be difficult to make a list of the top 5 players to watch out for when you have that kind of quality on offer. Now we've not spoken about Rohit Sharma, not spoken about Mohammad Rizwan, and then there will be eyes on KL Rahul as well. Which means if your list looks different, that would be a great thing. Don't forget to share your list of the top 5 players to watch out for in this Asia Cup with us. We're across all social media platforms and we'd love to see your list as well.
think the names that you need to worry about are plenty there, Joy.
No, good team. It's a good team. I mean, they will miss Dushmanta Chanira because he was the one guy at 145 he'd do a bit of damage for them. So yes, they are missing a bit of their genuine pace, which they don't have out here. But I mean, there's a lot of talent out there. There's Hasaranga, there's Thikshana, Chaita Asalanka. I mean, he's a super batsman. He just off the ball a little. He's off the ball a bit. So, yeah.
His numbers, I mean, the thing is that this is what has happened to him. In this, in a 147 to 113, your strike rate dip over there, Ajay, that's just
going to happen when you don't have averages, when you don't equal the averages, then the strike rate will always look worse when your averages are down. Because anybody, the very rare batsman in the world who strike rates in the first 20 runs is far more than when they get past 20. So anybody who has got an average of 40 odd in one side, his strike rate will look better. When he's averaging under 20, then his strike rate will look worse because out of those innings, even an average of 20, there will be many that he would have got 5, 10, 12, 20. So the strike rate will look contrastingly different, and so averages is the key. So he just hasn't got runs, and when he's got runs, if both periods when you can match saying averaging 40 here and 40 here, then the strike rate makes a difference. Those strike rates will really make a difference. Yeah, he's got 150 in 11 games, so that's the only one big innings that you can think of. But there he's got 20, but he's averaging 46. What that tells me is that it's not outs. It's every time he's got 40 odd runs. He's got runs every time, and that's when he's in good form. Here he's got 150 out of 11 games, and he's only averaging 22. Tells you what, that he hasn't scored at all. So so strike rates will look bad. But what he's capable is on the other side. So that's what you expect him. If he does well, what are you going to get? You're going to get that strike rate when he does well.
Now, Joy, one of the things, of course, this attacking approach suits more the batting style because there the visual effects of it are very evident now. But the one thing that wasn't happening with Team India's bowling also was the fact that they weren't picking as many wickets in the power play. Now, with this new regime change, with the new kind of approach, they started picking wickets consistently inside the power play, and that's helping as well.
That's helping as well. The interesting thing was Arshdeep being used up front. Because when you have Avesh shooting, the new ball goes to Avesh and Bhuvi. Because Arshdeep they were using for the 6th over and then using him for the right in the end overs, right? Death overs. But they changed tactics out there, and I think what they figured was that there was a little bit of swing out there, and they wanted it to give it to Arshdeep and Bhuvi. What's happened is the emergence of Bhuvi. You see, that's the important. And now if Bumrah comes back, Bhuvi is there, Bumrah comes back, then you have now the core. Arshdeep is looking really good as a death bowler because neither of these are technically really, I mean, Bumrah is a brilliant bowler anyway.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to use him only for the death because you want him to take wickets up front. So now you're beginning to have, okay, this is the core of my bowling attack. And I think that is important. The re-emergence of Bhuvi is a very important thing for India.
I think just to add to that, I think all of them are different kind of bowlers. Bhuvi can swing the ball and now he's put in a bit of pace. Arshdeep is out left arm seamer and Bumrah is obviously the way he bowls, we know he can do everything. Hardik comes in and takes wicket like this. Yuzvendra Chahal gives you that variety of leg spin. You have Ashwin not playing. If there are a couple of lefties in the side, you might want to throw in. Jadeja, obviously, he's this bowler, Jadeja, and maybe someone like Garena will be used at fifth or sixth bowler, and that's exactly what India was missing in the World Cup. Was a lot of talk about the number 6 bowler. I mean, it gives a lot of cushion to a captain when they know that they have only 5 bowlers. So that's when you can take chances. You can go attacking, knowing that you have a cushion of a couple of overs from either Ravindra Jadeja or someone else.
Being the powerhouse that India is, not lifting the Asia Cup for 15 years must have been a spot of bother for the men in blue. But Dhoni brought that to an end in a comprehensive manner when he led Team India to win the title in 2010, beating Sri Lanka by 81 runs in the final. He had taken the side to the final in 2008 as well, but failed to taste success. However, in 2010, the side seemed to be on a mission. Gautam Gambhir led the run charts for India, while the pace trio of Zaheer Khan, Ashish Nehra and Praveen Kumar did the damage with the ball. It was an all-round show from the Indian side that was packed with youngsters such as Virat Kohli, Ravindra Jadeja and Rohit Sharma. But they all had a cricketing genius leading them, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. A stellar 183 against Pakistan in an Asia Cup tie. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. All of just 23 then, Virat Kohli's dominance with the bat was testament to the fact that India had found their new go-to man. As Kohli orchestrated a record run chase, Tendulkar, the master, must have watched with awe from the dressing room. While MS Dhoni, the finest finisher of the game, with glee. It was Kohli's maiden ton against Pakistan and his highest individual ODI score till date. He came back to haunt the rivals back in 2016, winning India a game from the jaws of defeat. Come 2022, will history repeat itself? Only time will tell. A wait of over a year finally came to an end on March 16, 2012 when Sachin Tendulkar scored his 100th international century. His 99th had come in 2011 World Cup and the nation waited in anticipation as to when will the Master Blaster reach that promised land. It came against Bangladesh in the group game of 2012 Asia Cup with Tendulkar scoring 114 of 147. Although India went on to lose the game, the landmark was widely celebrated by fans with tributes pouring in from across the cricketing fraternity. MS Dhoni had a tryst with destiny on September 25th, 2018 when he led an Indian team out onto the field for the 200th time in his Dhoni had 2 successful Asia Cup campaigns with India, lifting the trophy twice, once in 20 then in 2016. Now, India had qualified for the final and had thus decided to rest skipper Rohit Sharma for the match. Afghanistan had already crashed out by then. But what was a dead rubber on paper
piqued interest among all as Afghanistan took the fight down to the wire to eke out a draw. It was the last time that Dhoni led India, and the tie will always go down as one of the most exciting contests in Asia Cup. India's last successful run in Asia Cup came under the leadership of the man who lead the men in blue in this edition as well, Rohit Sharma. The hitman donned the captain's hat in the absence of Virat Kohli, who was rested for the tournament, while others like Suresh Raina and Umesh Yadav did not make the cut. India not only clinched the title, beating Bangladesh by 3 wickets in the final, they remained unbeaten throughout the campaign. Rohit himself enjoyed a pretty good run too, scoring 317 runs in 5 games, including an unbeaten century against Pakistan and 2 half centuries. Up next in the UAE, can Rohit replicate his heroics this time around as well? Only time will tell.
Now, Joy, one of the things, of course, this attacking approach suits more the batting style, because there the visual effects of it are very evident now. But the one thing that wasn't happening with Team India's bowling also was the fact that they weren't picking as many wickets in the power play. Now, with this new regime change, with the new kind of approach, they started picking wickets consistently inside the power play, and that's helping as well.
That's helping as well. The interesting thing was Arshdeep being used up front. Because, you know, when you have Avesh, you think the new ball goes to Avesh and Bhuvi.
Yeah.
Because Arshdeep they were using for the 6th over and then using him for the right in the end overs, right?
Yeah.
Death overs. But they changed tactics out here. And I think what they figured was that there was a little bit of swing out there and they wanted it to give it to Arshdeep and Bhuvi. What's happened is the emergence of Bhuvi. If you see, that's important. And now if Bumrah comes back, Bhuvi is there, Bumrah comes back, then you have now the core. Arshdeep is looking really good as a death bowler, because neither of these are technically really, I mean, Bumrah is a brilliant bowler anyway.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to use him only for the death, because you want him to take wickets up front. So now you're beginning to have, okay, this is the core of my bowling attack, and I think that is important. The re-emergence of Bhuvi is a very important thing for India.
I think just to add to that, I think all of them are different kind of bowlers. Bhuvi can swing the ball and now he's put in a bit of pace. Arshdeep is out left arm seamer, and Bumrah is obviously the way he bowls, we know he can do everything. Hardik comes in and takes wicket like this. Yuzvendra Chahal gives you that variety of leg spin. You have R. Ashwin not playing. If there are a couple of lefties in the side, you might want to throw in. Jadeja, obviously he's this bowler, Jadeja, and maybe someone like Jadeja will be used at 5th or 6th bowler, and that exactly what India was missing in the World Cup was a lot of talk about the number 6 bowler. I mean, it gives a lot of cushion to a captain when they know that they've only